I like working in my book. So this is a good tip if you like to work in your book, but you don't want to take paper out of your book for ease of watercolor, then this is how you can do it. Hi, welcome to another episode of Watercolor with Kimba. Today I'm going to do a little something different because I'm working on a project here at the house and I thought I would share what I'm working on. Dale brought me home a really cool old stepladder. It is probably from the 40s, we're thinking, somewhere in that range. It's heavy duty. It was dirty, but it's sturdy. And I don't know that we'll use it as a step stool, but it's definitely going in the kitchen. It may just hang on the wall. So I was thinking about how I was going to finish it. What I've already done is basically cleaned it up. I left the patina on the legs, and I'll show a photo of it once I finish it. I will share that probably on Facebook. So if you're not following me there, follow me at www.facebook.com/sincerest.kimba. There is a link in the description below. He brought that home and it's a very cool ladder. I wanted to keep the patina, not, take it all off and then redo it. So I left the legs as is. I cleaned off the top and then I put a coat of chalk paint on it, creamy color. So it's ready for me to put some kind of an image on it. I've always liked the idea of the Bluebird cafe. While I was trying to figure out what kind of bird to put on my stool, I went online and looked at bird images. I drew different birds that I saw that I liked. And I have settled on this little Tweety bird. He's adorable. When I decided that I wanted to share this with you, I had to take it off of this page. But how to do it. And so I'm sharing with you some of the tips and tricks that I do when I'm using my own artwork to increase or decrease the size and to get rid of other images, because I use this book as a sketchbook. I love this paper. I talked about this in other videos. It's Canson mixed media paper. It's a nice heavy quality. It's 98 pounds. And when I have a painting that I'm done with, it frames up nicely. It takes color nicely. It's a quality piece of paper. But for what I'm doing today, I had to get this image off. So what I did was to just place this on my home copier. First I tried to just copy it and increase the size just based on, it's a simple little inkjet that I have here at the house. And that got it a little bit bigger. I don't know what I did with that image, but anyway, it increased it a little bit, but not very much. So what I ended up doing was scanning it into the computer, and then I cropped as much as I could from it, and here is that. I increased the contrast between the black and the white so that I could see it very easily. And now I'm going to use this on my very simple whiteboard. I know they sell expensive ones. I found this at my Walmart, and it was in the children's section where they sell toys and coloring crafts. It's a light board. The batteries go in here, it goes on and off, and there's light behind it. You put your image on here, and then you put your paper over top of it, and you trace it. And so I'm not worried about this little part right here that has part of the wing from another bird. Another way that I have done this, and I'm going to caution you to be very careful if this is the way you go. If you don't have a copier at home and you want to use nice paper for a free image, or if you purchase a download and you don't have a printer, and if it's an inkjet, you don't want to print it on an inkjet anyway because it will end up smudging. So you have to print it on a laser jet. So what you do is you just use your computer screen. Now I have standalone computers still. Maybe I'm old-fashioned, but I like them. I like the desktops. So I have a large screen, and I have done this before with my images. When I needed a certain size on a certain piece of paper, or if my printer was just not working or whatever the reasons were. And then you just, the television has light behind it, and you put a piece of paper on there and you carefully trace around it with a pencil maybe a pen, but I would say not, because you don't want to ruin your screen. So you want to be incredibly careful if you do that. But it can be done. I've got my Tweety Bird as big as I want it. Another reason that I do it this way is because I want to have it big enough where I can get all the color that I want on it, and I don't want to be distracted by what else is going on in the background with my sketches. So this is a big enough size where I can take my time and I can put my color exactly where I want it. So even though I'll end up shrinking this before it's all over, because what I'm going to try to do, and I have never done this before, but I've watched a lot of videos on it and it looks like fun. Once I have the color on this, I'm going to shrink it down to where it's the size for my ladder, because I only need one about this size, back to about this size, maybe a little bit smaller. But then it will be the color that I want. I'll print it on color on my inkjet, which is perfect for transferring images, because when you put water on background, and I might do a video for this, I don't know, but when you put water on the back of it, it will transfer, it will lift off and go onto the surface that's underneath it. The technique that I'm showing you, you can use up and down any which way you like. And that's why I'm sharing it with you today. So let's get started. I like working in my book. So this is a good tip if you like to work in your book, but you don't want to take paper out of your book for ease of watercolor, then this is how you can do it. All right, so you take this, and this was inexpensive. I want to say that this was maybe, I don't know, this was probably $10. It was on the discount rack, then you remember at this point. They have them for boys with like cars, or they have girls with dresses, and it's that. I just kept the light board, that's all I needed. And it was an inexpensive way to get a light board. Flip it on, and then I carefully put the paper over my image. I don't use this a lot, my light board, but when I do, sometimes you got to change the battery out. That's the one irritation about this simple little light board. I think because it's for children, they make it incredibly difficult to get into changing the batteries, but other than that, it's great. And then you center it on your paper the way you want it, and you hold it so it doesn't move. And the other thing you may be saying, well, Kim, why wouldn't you just do another one? And I've mentioned this in other videos, that I really settled in on this bird. I liked it. And if I drew another one today, yes, I could probably do a similar one, but it wouldn't feel the same. And this is the one I want. So this is a way to have that. And it's a tip for you if you draw something and you like it, and it's, let's say you add color to it and you don't like the color. Well, guess what? This is a way you can do another one with a different color. Doesn't limit you. I like that little wing. It reminds me of Picasso and his sweet little head. So I go over it in pencil. Well, yes, I could easily draw another little birdie, but I don't draw a lot of birds, and I really like him. So I wanted it to feel exactly the same. So this is how you do it. This is one way of doing it. It's not the only way of doing it. And let's say you like this bird, but you don't like this particular branch. Well, you could put this birdie on a different branch if you use this method. You just put the bird on here, not the rest of it. And then you add to it what you will. So I thought I would share it with you guys. And then before I move my paper, I kind of pull it up a little bit and then make sure that I'm happy with what I see. And I am. I've got everything here. So there you go. There's the image transferred. I turn my little light off because it does use up the battery pretty quick. Now, any adjustments that I want to make, I make them now before I go over it in pen. And he's adorable, so I'm gonna move forward.